What if most practices and doctrines that you sincerely partaken in what you call Christianity are not right? Deuteronomy 12:29-32. When Yahweh thy Elohim shall cut off the nations before thee, whither thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them, and dwellest in their land, take heed therefore that thou be not snared by following them. After that they may be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not about their Elohim, saying, How did these nations worship their Elohim? Even so will I do likewise. Thou shalt not do so to Yahweh thy Elohim. For every abomination to Yahweh which he hated, they have done to their Elohim. For even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their Elohim. We must remember, Yahuwah, or Yahweh as you may call him, has commanded us not to add to his word, nor take away from it. Before I go on, it's important to let you know that I am not of any of these denominations such as Jehovah's Witness, or the Seventh-day Adventists, or the Catholic, and so on. If I belong to any denomination at all, it is called the truth. I am simply a follower of Yahshua, transliterated Jesus. Over the centuries, a lot of things have changed. We see a lot of new practices and new doctrines being practiced in what we call Christianity in the name of God. But are they really new in history? Do not forget, nothing is new under the sun. Some of these practices are thousands of years old, even before the birth of Yahshua, but only rebranded or Christianized and put in Christian churches, and unfortunately being practiced till this day without people asking questions or taking a second look at their origin. Most of these Christians are involved in these practices simply because it's a tradition passed down to them over the generations, and ironically, most of them do not know why they do some of the things they do. For example, when asked the following questions like, why do you celebrate Valentine's Day? Why do you buy Christmas trees and adorn it? Why the Easter eggs, Easter rabbits, and Easter cakes? Origin of Lent, Ash Wednesday, and etc. They simply partake in these practices because Christians all over the world do it as a Christian practice, and has always been so for many generations. And even when told about the pagan origins of most of these practices, they simply say, well, I am doing this for God, and God sees my heart that I am sincere about this. Well, what if you are sincerely lost? The purpose of this ministry is to wake you up to the truth. If you are watching this video, you need to keep an open mind and understand that the entire world, the entire world has been deceived by that old serpent, directly or indirectly, to worship him. And this includes people from the Christian churches. This he has successfully done in numerous ways, but for the purpose of this video, let's take a look at Easter celebration. Easter Day is known worldwide as the day our Messiah, Yahshua, transliterated as Jesus Christ, rose from the dead, having died for 3 days. It is an annual festival commemorating this resurrection. Now, we need to put at the back of our mind that this is the most important event in our faith as followers of Yahshua. Without the resurrection, there will be no salvation. Please do not misunderstand the purpose of this video. Am I asking you to celebrate the resurrection? Of course, yes. And when? Every day. And certainly not celebrating it exclusively on a day fixed by pagans to worship their mother god, called Ashtaroth, also known as Semiramis or Ishtar. So this video is in no way telling you not to celebrate his resurrection, but to celebrate it even more every day of your life. Celebrate him every day. Worship and thank him every day. Believe in him every day. Now let's take a look at some facts about Easter holiday. It's important to know that Yahshua was crucified during the Passover period. You can see that in Luke chapter 22, verse 14 to 20. And verse 15 of it says, "And he said unto them, With desire I have desired to eat this Passover with you, before I suffer." Also in Yachanan, that is the book of John, chapter 13, verse 1, "Now before the feast of the Passover, when Yahshua knew that his hour was come, that he should depart from this world unto the Father, having loved his own which were in the world, he loved them unto the end." So, the question is, when is the Passover? In the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 4 to 6, it reads, "These are the feasts of Yahweh, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month at even is Yahuwah's Passover, and of the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto Yahuwah. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread." Now it's important to know that the Passover was set according to the moon cycle. Now the first month in the Hebrew calendar is the month of Nisan. You must know that the date of Easter is determined by the formula set in the Council of Nicaea in the Roman Catholic Church in the year 325 AD. Now, let me break down the formula. In our Gregorian calendar, the first day of spring is March 21st. This is called the spring equinox. Now, the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox is how Easter is determined. So, the big question is, why does this holiday not always align with the Passover period? In fact, sometimes they are even as far as a month apart. I know of at least a case where Easter was celebrated 1 month before the Passover, and that was 2016. On that year, Easter was celebrated March 27, when the Passover was April 22. I don't get it. I mean, how can you celebrate the resurrection of Yahshua the Messiah before the day of his crucifixion? Now this is a red flag to tell you that something isn't right here. And if you dig deeper, just as I did many years back, you will be shocked at what you will find. I mean, I encourage you to make a research on this topic, Easter. Find out why it's even called Easter in the first place. Find out for yourself. To keep it brief, I will tell you in summary how it all began. Now, going back to ancient Babylon, Nimrod is the father of paganism and was known by many names. He was worshipped as the sun god. The Hebrews call him Baal or Moloch. While he was alive, Nimrod's mother, who became his wife, was Semiramis. After Nimrod died, she got pregnant. In order to stay in power, she claimed that she was impregnated by the spirit of Nimrod. So when she gave birth, she claimed it was a virgin birth through the spirit of Nimrod. She made herself a goddess, claiming that she came down to the earth in a giant moon egg that fell into the Euphrates River. She is known as the Queen of Babylon or Madonna or Ishtar, aka Queen of Heaven or the Moon Goddess. Her newborn baby was celebrated as a god. She claimed that the newborn baby, who was called Tammuz, was Nimrod reborn. By the way, he was born during the winter solstice, and his birthday was celebrated on December 25th. But that's the story for another video. Now, the followers of Semiramis were made to believe that her son Tammuz was the promised savior of Genesis chapter 15. Unfortunately for her and her son, Tammuz was later killed by a wild pig. So, originally, the pagan festival of Easter or Ishtar was celebrated as a sex orgy that marked the return of life via the fertility of Semiramis or Ishtar's conception of Tammuz. That's what Easter or Ishtar celebration was all about, period. The conception of Tammuz by their queen, who then became a fertility goddess. Now, in the ancient Babylonian religion, her conception of Tammuz was celebrated annually on the first Sunday after the first full moon that follows the spring equinox. This they did in the temple of Ishtar by baking cake to Ishtar, getting drunk, engaging in sex orgies and prostitution. Human babies were sacrificed to their pagan gods and their bloods were used for dyeing these eggs. This was done as a symbol of fertility, and 9 months later these eggs were hatched. And you can guess the date, December 25th, the same day her son Tammuz, the sun god reincarnated, would be born. Do you now see how the dots connect? It was originally believed that Tammuz was resurrected from his death in the form of vegetation. Her mother, Semiramis, also declared a 40 days mourning period for Tammuz in which no meat should be eaten. This was done annually prior to the anniversary of the death of Tammuz. This is what became known as Lent in the Roman Catholic tradition till this day. And they marked their heads with the sign of the Tau, which most people now know as the cross, as they worship. They also ate sacred cakes marked with the Tau symbol, then celebrated Easter with eggs and rabbits, which symbolize fertility. It's important to know that this practice was on far back in history, even before Israel became a nation, and it spread out over the generations to other nations and cultures even till the time of Yahshua and after. The children of Israel, which were intermittently turning their back from Yahuwah, were not left out of this practice. In Revelation chapter 17 and in many other scriptures, Semiramis is described as the whore of Babylon. Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 12 to 15, it reads, Then said he unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark? Every man in his chambers of his imagery, for they say, Yahuwah seeth us not, Yahuwah hath forsaken the earth. He said unto me, Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations that they do. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of Yahuwah's house, which was towards the north. And behold, there sat a woman weeping for Tammuz. Then said he unto me, Hast thou seen this, O son of man? Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations than this. You see, this stuff is in the Bible. It can't be made up. It is an abomination to Yahuwah, or Yahweh as you may call him. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 17 and 18. Seest thou not what they do in the streets of Judah? And in the streets of Jerusalem? The children gather woods, and their fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour their drink offerings unto their gods, that they may provoke me to anger. Jeremiah chapter 44, verse 19. And when we burned incense to the Queen of Heaven, and poured out drink offerings to her, did we make her cakes to worship her, and poured out drink offerings to her without our men? And you can read this down to verse 29. And this shall be a sign unto you, saith the Lord, that I will punish you in this place, that ye may know that my words shall surely stand against you for evil. As I said earlier, Semiramis is known by many other names such as Isis, the moon goddess, the Queen of Heaven, the Virgin Mother of God, Ishtar, Goddess Diana, and etc. It is clear that the customs associated with Ishtar even including the name Easter itself, all come from pagan practice. It has nothing to do with Yahshua at all. It is nothing but the commemoration of the conception of the reborn Son God on December 25th, period. It should be known to you that the Romans were purely pagans before their conversion, and they believed in the concept of God the Father, God the Mother, and God the Son. Now, the early church in Rome was having a hard time converting these pagans who were not ready to let go of their traditions and their gods. This fact, amidst other political factors, led to the marriage between Messianism, which was what the first set of believers practiced, by the way, and paganism, which has given birth to Catholicism, or what we now know as Christianity. This I will fully discuss in another video. It is a fact that all Christian denominations came from the Roman Catholic Church. Until this day, they are more or less involved in these Catholic practices, whether they know it or not, and Easter celebration is not an exception. I mean, look at it. Same practice, same date formula, same features, only Christianized by replacing Tammuz with Yahshua. Many researchers say the name Easter is derived from the moon goddess Ishtar, and that the right pronunciation of that name should be Easter. And others say the word Easter is derived from the word Esoter and is of Saxon origin. They worship her as their goddess of spring and fertility. This is the same mother goddess, queen of heaven. Whichever way you look at it, you see that the celebration is of a resurrection or a reconception, but not of Yahshua HaMashiach, but that of Tammuz. You see, the Most High is not pleased when we engage in pagan practices in His name. Leviticus chapter 18, verse 2 to verse 4. Speak unto the children of Israel, say unto them, I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. After the doings of the land of Egypt wherein ye dwelt, ye shall not do, and after the other things of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, ye shall not do, neither shall ye walk in their ordinances. Ye shall do my judgment, and keep my ordinance to walk therein. I am Yahuwah your Elohim. Deuteronomy chapter 12, verse 30. Take heed to thyself, that thou be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, How did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. You see, the Most High gets no glory from this. Rather, he is provoked to anger. I know somebody watching this now will probably say, I'm only celebrating the resurrection of Christ. What could be wrong with that? I mean, I don't even do the eggs, the cakes, the rabbits, and all that stuff. I just go to Easter service and maybe cook some special meals and then maybe hang out with friends. Well, if you choose only one day in a whole year, determined by pagan worshippers for the celebration of their son God to celebrate the resurrection of Yahshua, I tell you this, a wife cannot honor her husband by cheating on him. I mean, think about that. You must therefore set yourself apart this day from the system of the world by making the word of Yahuwah, which is the truth, to be your standard. This is the only way to make it through the narrow gate that Yahshua talked about in Matthew chapter 7, verse 13 and 14. And always remember, the narrow gate is not for the majority. Thanks for watching. I hope you are blessed. And if you are, don't forget to like this video and also share it with others so they get blessed also. You can subscribe to this channel to watch more videos like this by simply clicking on the red button below, after which you click on the bell icon so you get notified each time I upload a new video. Shalom.